Gary Stewart will be hosting the second Fireside about shaping entrepreneurs with Kalina King, Regional Director for General Assembly Asia. Please welcome Kalina and Gary.
So I have the pleasure of being with Kalina. We're basically going to have a quick chat a bit about how to train and shape entrepreneurs. Kalina is working with an organization called General Assembly. She's the regional director of the company in Asia. Maybe we can start by having you give a kind of introduction to the company. What exactly is it that you guys do? What is the problem that you think you're aiming to solve, and how do you guys solve it?
Sure. So General Assembly is a venture-backed education company founded in New York 5 years ago. And we teach digital skills and education for entrepreneurs and everything that's relevant in the 21st century. And the problem we're solving is that traditional education has a lot of problems, and people are coming out of school, or there's adults who aren't equipped with the skills that they need to succeed in a tech-driven modern economy. So we're here to fill in that gap with mostly short-term courses ranging from a 2-hour workshop or talk to 12-week full-time boot camps in web development, product management, user experience design, the list goes on.
Right. So you kind of hinted that you guys are venture-backed, but in fact, you guys have raised about $50 million in venture funding, including from the CEO of was it Amazon, Jeff Bezos. So you also have 12 campuses around the world, mainly in Asia and the US. So can you tell us a bit about how having a VC has changed your model? Because for me, it seemed at first glance that your company is really about helping entrepreneurs to kind of get the skills, or people who might become entrepreneurs. But how does that change once a VC comes in, invests $50 million, and all of a sudden says, well, that's cool to help entrepreneurs, but maybe you should also think about making some money?
Definitely. They said first, grow, build your brand, and then make money. I think, yes, General Assembly is not your average ed tech startup. We are pretty much a school. We have classrooms. It's bricks and mortar, and one of the great things about General Assembly is that we have been able to scale up and grow so quickly it's actually going to be 14 campuses worldwide by the end of this year. Some of the kind of differentiating things are that for VC, being a global education brand and providing this kind of education fill in the blank in terms of content means that we are then positioned to expand even further globally with online, scalable delivery of education, new systems for providing effective education. And then as the world changes, as new technologies come or go, that we're building up the right courses and having the best practitioners there to teach them.
So do you think that there are any lessons to be learned there for Lebanon? Because we've just had a discussion on accelerators and the idea that people can basically get needed skills through a number of different ways. So in some senses, maybe you and I should be competitors, or maybe we're complementary. How do you see that, and how do you see that working in a market like Lebanon?
Yeah, let's grow the pie, not competitors. I think for a country like Lebanon, we're not here yet. We have globally for GA a lot of students coming in who fly to the States, fly to Hong Kong, fly to Sydney to take a course, meet other entrepreneurs, and then stay or go back to their home country. So that kind of is an option right now. We have a fair amount of free resources online, like Dash to learn how to code. And I think for Lebanon, and particularly with this new 400 million fund, Lebanon should be thinking very, very seriously about investing in education and providing the right platform so that there's the tech talent there to then fuel the startups.
And so you've been talking a lot about entrepreneurship, but I'm going to ask a personal question now. Are you an entrepreneur, or how do you consider yourself?
Yes, I am an entrepreneur. I I didn't think I was an entrepreneur until probably 2 years ago. I'd like to take this opportunity to distinguish between born entrepreneurs and made entrepreneurs, or whatever the terms may be. My younger brother is a born entrepreneur. He was getting me to buy bags of Beanie Babies in China to try and arb them on US markets when we were in middle school. We started comet-computers.com together in San Francisco in the 90s. He got my PayPal account frozen for 10 years because he was reselling certain luxury items of questionable quality on eBay through my account. I didn't really like that, and I didn't see myself that way. Instead, I was intensely curious about learning, dabbling in different things, and I chose to start out a much more traditional career, first in banking, and then moving into investing, most recently helping start a financial services business, investing into tech and consumer companies in China. And it was at that point when I was thinking about the fact that I was operating a business, growing a business, a startup in finance, and also wanting to be on the other side of the table of all the companies I was interviewing, and be operating, be building something, be creating instead of investing in it at that point in my life, that I decided I was an unleashed entrepreneur, a made entrepreneur. And I ended up taking a course with General Assembly just before joining to then grow the team and business in Asia. And I think whether you're a born entrepreneur or a made entrepreneur, entrepreneurs need support. They need education. Asali yesterday said, how can people in Lebanon find the gold mine, hit the gold mine, if they don't know, if they've never seen anyone else do it? I'd like to take that one step further. You may have 5 stories of people who've hit the gold mine or seen it on TV. You still need some tools to get started and figure out how to find your gold mine.
So, you were responsible for helping to launch the product in Hong Kong. Do you see any similarities between the market in Hong Kong and Lebanon at all? I don't have the perception that the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Hong Kong is very vibrant, or maybe I'm mistaken, but.
I think it is vibrant. It is very small, and it's, we're GA the size that it is today. Hong Kong, frankly, probably wouldn't have been our first market in Asia. That said, I love Hong Kong, thrilled to be there. Similarities between Hong Kong and Lebanon. I think there's a lot of passionate people I've met the past few days here. There's definitely almost more need for General Assembly than in a city like San Francisco, where we're launching 4 front-end web development courses every 3 weeks. And in General Assembly Hong Kong, as might happen with these types of education programs or partnerships in Lebanon, General Assembly has grown the startup ecosystem, the community's built around us, and we're right in the heart of it and have grown up with it. And that's a story that even General Assembly New York had back when Silicon Valley was the only name in town 5 years ago.
So with your banking background, then I guess the business model must be really, really important to you. Can you tell us a bit about what your business model is, and how does that go with the kind of more social aim of trying to help entrepreneurs?
Sure. So we charge tuition for our courses, and tuition for evening courses ranges from $3,000 to $4,500 US. Courses can be up to 10 weeks long, and for a full-time program, that's $8,000 to $12,000. So as you pointed out earlier, we're kind of almost in the territory of a mini MBA or some type of program. The individuals most often pay tuition. Sometimes companies sponsor it. We have a scholarship fund called the Opportunity Fund. There's a lot of financing. There's different models there, but right now we're here for the individuals. And so it's the most impartial way to operate in providing excellent education.
Cool. So I think I have just like one more question, and then we can kind of maybe open it up to anyone in the audience that might have one for you as well. I was going to ask you, you know, it's hard to kind of see clearly like what the differentiator is or why someone wouldn't be able to copy what you guys are doing. And earlier there was a lot of discussion about whether copycats are good or bad. How would you feel about someone kind of copying the idea and bringing it to Lebanon? Do you see your model as kind of like open source, or I mean, just kind of give us some feedback as to would you guys collaborate with such an initiative, or how does that work?
Definitely. A few points here. A lot of what we do is open source. You know, the amount of information out there to learn how to code, learn how to build a website is on the internet 500,000 times over. The competitive advantage that General Assembly offers is kind of your shaman through the learning experience. One practitioner, a few instructors who will tell you their way of doing it, and just follow their shortcuts. And then from another perspective, I think that one of the big things for GA globally is the fact that we put people first, and we're very, very much, as accelerators are, increasingly about the network effects, the community, and the fact that each class of students not only has GA for their backing them, their instructors, but also that whole class supporting each other and the alums in the past and future and present. So it's very much open to other educational opportunities. We've been flattered to have copycats in most of the markets in which we operate. People are still choosing to come to GA.
All right, so I think that was my last question. Are there any questions from the audience?
Thank you very much. Just a quick question. Do you think that entrepreneurs should rather, I mean, they have limited budgets, so probably they would want to spend their money on their startups. So maybe they would go rather for accelerators or incubators. And how do you see that in terms of your offering?
Sure, great question. Just to repeat, he was asking, for many entrepreneurs, they may likely prefer to spend their budget on their startup or getting through the accelerator program. To back up a bit, for GA, we not only provide education for entrepreneurs, we're also, a lot of our students are career changers, as well as people in roles, whether they be at big corporates or startups, upskilling, say from a marketing role to also be doing digital marketing. We see, and many of our students see, the investment into the tuition, not only as getting the project out at the end, but also investing in yourself. And there's a fair amount of agreement out there that kind of that technical aptitude, even if you're not going to be your own technical co-founder for long, having that in your back pocket will help you succeed more.
I guess kind of as a follow-up to that question, we were talking about it before as well, that in the UK right now, they just launched an initiative to kind of help to foment digital skills as kind of a means of improving productivity. Do you think that long-term that governments or corporate should be the one to pay for these courses, or do you really think that the business model is that the entrepreneur who may or may not have the resources should have to pay?
We would love to get to a time and place where governments are paying for these courses and not the people who need it most and can afford it the least. For General Assembly, it's insane that we exist at all. It shouldn't be this way. There's enough money spent on education globally that it's a tragedy that certain governments are trying to bring GA in so that they can send all of their computer science fresh graduates through our training programs so that those graduates are then work ready. I think the more that governments can do to invest in digital skills and classes on figuring, like Google search, the new social studies of the future, the more the better.
I think that's all we have time. I don't know, I'll give you the last word if you have something that you'd like to share or final thoughts.
I guess a word to all the entrepreneurs out there. Stay hungry, keep learning. Go online, talk to people. It's really, really important to share your idea, share your concerns, find like-minded, passionate people, and stay curious. Thanks.
All right, well, thank you.